listening to AchieveRadio.com, the positive side of broadcasting.
Hi, this is AnnMarie, and you are listening to Achieve Spiritual, Holistic, and Self-Improvement Radio, and this is my co-host, Joseph Grick, and
Hello.
uh, hi.
How are
So,
you?
good. What's going on with your weather down there? Up
Oh, well,
there?
it's cold. It's
Oh,
cold.
it's
It's
cold.
fall. I had to wear a jacket, and I have to unpack all my winter clothes. It's very depressing. Oh well. But it's been a nice day though. It's been lovely. It's been a lovely fall day. So I can't complain, really. How are
Oh,
you? How's
yeah.
the weather? Now you're pretty much on the
It's, it's,
I
yeah,
that far
it's
away. You're only a state over.
right, right. And it's pretty much the same weather.
Hmm.
But it is today a nice mix of pre-cool. It's not cold. Today it was much nicer. And we have had a small town crisis in our city.
Oh,
An animal shelter that was saving a Great Dane from a bad situation in South Dakota went through our town, and as they let the dog out on a leash to walk it and go potty, the dog pulled and the leash let loose, and so it's running loose. And I guess it's very timid and very I don't know if it's hand shy, but it's definitely uh, they say it does like children, but it's been 3 days, and
oh dear.
it's been spotted at churches. It's been spotted, in fields, but it always gets away. It's only 2 years old, and it's 110 pounds,
Now, what is it
and
again? What?
it's a Great Dane. It's a
Oh,
gun
yeah, it's a
steel
big dog.
gray.
Those are big puppies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and a beautiful dog. But I think he was well fed, so evidently, whatever situation he was taken away from, it must have been just one of those things where not enough money to feed it well, or
Oh,
too big for the environment, because it was a very well fed dog, but I don't think it
yeah.
understands why its family sent it away in this strange van. And
Sad.
it's sad, very sad. His name is George, and my dogs and I have been walking around the schoolyard and the churches going, George, George,
Yeah.
and it
Now,
must be smart.
does he like other dogs?
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. All
Yeah, I
right.
know it.
So I know that a lot of times dogs tend to come to our yard because they met Bugsy or they know him by scent and they know it's friendly. So a lot of times lost dogs end up in our yard playing with Bugsy, and then we just pop them all in the car and take them home. if they have tags on, because they're all from town, they're all from around here. So
Right.
and this is a very small place. It's
Well,
it's like really small.
we have. Oh well, we are also are very very small, but
Hmm.
it's just the point of the matter. He must be so scared, and he must
Oh
be
yeah, yeah.
just feeling like the whole world is against him.
Oh
Um,
dear.
they did say they saw him on a horse farm, and my fear is that he's going to get on a farm and start chasing cattle or horses and get shot, you know.
Or
So,
taking their food, and then getting
yeah,
shot because then he becomes you know an invader in the farm. So yeah,
right.
hopefully somebody will be able to give him a good home and find him and coax him.
And
You know.
that's the story of George.
Oh,
So
poor George. Well,
yeah.
we'll have to hope for the
I'm
best for
amazed. I'm
George.
amazed that
That's sad.
someone would have a purebred Great Dane and call him George. But hey, it
What would you
makes you
call
wonder
him?
what these people that
Something
had him were
exotic,
like.
like
A lot of times in this time and day, parents get stuck with dogs that their children said they would take care of.
oh
And then
yeah.
the children end up moving out of state or in a situation where they can't take care of them, and then you've got mom and dad, and they hadn't bargained on the situation, so yeah,
Well, but
anyway.
surely though, but the dog, I guess doesn't anybody explain to the children that you're adopting a member of the family. You have
I
to. They have to. It has to be emphasized that these are sentient beings. They have feelings, they have emotions. That's why we have laws to protect them. They think, they feel. Um, when you adopt, we don't buy and we don't own. I mean, really, we become responsible for them, but the wording is that we adopt them into
Right.
our lives. So you don't get a pet for a child on a whim. And you don't say, now you
No.
have to take care of it now. No, 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 no. This is like you're adopting a person into your home. This is another being that you're adopting. It's not a human being, it's a canine being. And this is something
Right.
that thinks and has emotions and feels and needs to feel like they're in a family or a pack. And you have to take that into consideration. Many people have dogs who shouldn't have dogs because they don't understand what they're taking on. This is a person who's going to be living with you. It's not a human, but it's a canine or a feline or
Right.
some other creature. But when we had to prove scientifically that these pets are sentient, that they have this thought process. And it's not that we didn't know this, but we had to have it in writing and it had to be documented by scientists just so that these
Right.
laws can be passed to protect their rights. Because I think about that dog and I think it just breaks my heart. I think about Bugsy being scared or lost and just the
Tears
idea
you
of him
apart.
being in that situation is enough to make me just be is very upset, very, very heartbroken. So, and that's how they are. You see, that's what they don't. That's what a lot of people don't get. How much that dog or ant or cat or something like that, how much they feel. So that has to really be drummed in. That has to be
Right.
explained to children. But of course, if the parents don't get that either, I mean, granted, they're on the right track. I mean, you got to take care of it. Okay, but that's not the issue. No, you're all going to be taking care of that pet. Just like if you had another baby, you'd all be taking care of that baby. Okay?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's a living thing that feels and thinks and processes you know, and decides whether or not it likes you too. So,
Right.
you know,
Well,
that
you know,
that is
so
something
ma-
that
uh, Yeah, I agree completely,
Right?
but
Right? Okay.
sometimes it's easier said than done, Joe.
Yeah.
I think that
But they
there's a
have
lot
to
of
do
people
this.
that
I just wish.
truly, truly. Now, when I grew up, my mom and dad always said, you feed the animals first and then you feed yourself. You
Right.
know, that was just something I was raised on. So I
Right.
always knew that part of my chore was
Mm.
to feed my animals first, or my dog, or
Right.
whatever
Because
was
they
in the
depend
household.
upon you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that way I knew that if I wanted to get my allowance, I had to be a responsible pet owner. But the thing is, um, so many people do not do allowance anymore, I don't think. And children don't do chores anymore
They
that I
should.
know of. And and and
I have to
and,
do chores. Things don't happen by themselves. I don't see any issue. I mean, what's going to happen is if the kids aren't doing chores, when are they going to, how are they going to take care of themselves later on?
well,
That's what
taking
I just
care,
don't get. Yeah,
yes.
I'm glad I'm not a parent. I don't think, I think I would always be fighting with my spouse. I would. I would. I would. I mean, I would never be able to make this work because I have a very set view. Because of the way I was raised. I'm sorry. You have chores. This is what you do. You don't have a choice. This is your home. These are the things that you do. And if you don't do it, well, then fine. You know what? We're going to take something away, or we'll deny you a privilege.
Right. Well, taking
Because
care of
you know what I'm saying is
taking
they don't understand how they get things. They expect to just, you know, you have to get things. You have to work for things. You have to know how to get things. You have to know how to
you
clean
you
up.
need
Who's going to
well,
clean?
I think also it goes with you need to learn that you have to
Yes.
earn things. And
Well, you take
earning is not
responsibility
just
for yourself.
money.
Right.
It's not just
Yeah.
money. If you want to
Yeah.
earn respect, you have to give respect. If you want to
Absolutely.
earn a raise or promotion, you can't be on your cell phone at your job, you know,
Right.
and doing things that are completely irresponsible. You have to earn what you want. To want it is not enough. You have to earn it. But I think this is old school thinking anymore,
Oh, sure.
Joseph.
I'm a dinosaur. That's what it is, and
I
I
know, I
think that's
know.
why
I mean, not
I'm
you,
just
me too.
dumbfounded
It's like,
sometimes when I hear the helplessness of some people. It's just like, well, then just get off your ass and do it. You
right.
know,
Yeah,
um, there's just things that just it just drives me crazy. Especially, you know, they have the resources. I'm not talking about someone who's so poor they have no opportunity. You know, I'm not talking about the horrible environment that might be hindering somebody. I'm talking about just not doing diddly, being totally lazy, lazy in the brain, because now they just ask something to look up something that they need to know, and they don't try to learn anything because they could just ask something, oh, what's this, what's
right.
that, and somebody answers their question. Oh, okay. Nobody learns anything, and I'm not saying nobody. I mean, there's a large majority. There's a lot of people who don't bother to learn anything, and there's a lot of people who do. You know, and there's a lot of people who still read. Thank goodness, they still enjoy literature, which is nice. And that was. I'm very happy to see that brought into the new technology. You know, that the books not necessarily having to be on paper. We have a device that we could view the text on, which is great. I love that.
And
The
usually
Kindle.
it's much cheaper.
Yes,
and
books are
and
cheaper
you
and
and
Kindle's cheaper. Yeah.
you don't have to worry about tons and tons of books that you're looking for a
Yeah.
home for. You have them
Correct.
on your library in your personal notepad or computer,
Right.
and that's
Right.
very nice because
Our
they're still
spaces have
there.
become more portable, is what it is. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, you know, today I did want to talk about um, the secret of accurate tarot reading, and
Cool.
and the secret to creating accurate and insightful tarot readings. And one of the things it says is that if you're struggling to create a real connection with your tarot reading clients. And that, are you at a point where your clients are walking away thinking that reading could have been for anyone?
Yeah.
Anyone can lay out a handful of tarot cards, look up the meanings in a book, deliver
Oh,
a
sure.
basic tarot reading. However, if you want to deliver a highly accurate and insightful tarot reading, you need to be able to tell the story that sits behind the cards. So I'm reading a post by, let me see what the name of this author is, by Bridget. And it says, first of all, you need to start with a point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you may start writing or talking about the tarot cards in front of you, you need to be very clear in your own mind about what your own unique point of view is going to be. And I think that that's the one thing about referring to book meanings and not, here we
Mm-hmm.
go again, not taking the
Mm-hmm.
time to study the books, not taking
Mm-hmm.
the time to study your cards. You are
Mm-hmm.
reading officially with someone else's interpretation. And
Right.
so if someone says, am I going to leave? Is someone going to leave their wife or not? Is the decision to move interstate really a viable
Mm-hmm.
option? Is the
It
job
takes a
offer
little
going to come through or not?
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes experience,
Yeah.
but there's
Um,
certain tricks, it
Understanding there's
says.
no rule of thumb, really. I mean, what we but you're right. I mean, it's not just because there are tons of books written about the meanings of the cards. There's pages and pages and pages just about one card, and it can go on and on and on. But it's and it's not all going to be appropriate for the person. And it's not going to be.
Right.
There is no this answers your question. It's like, well, no, there's more to it than that. There's a feeling. Well, there's sort of I can't describe it, and I think you're doing well with it, so I'll let you do that. But it's when I get a reading, because I do go to have readings. I can't do my own, really. I don't go too often. It's not something I do very often.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, there were times that I did because there was always a crisis every 5 minutes. It's unbelievable, but not anymore. That is unbelievable. It's like I could actually, at one point, I could have maybe 10 readings in a month, and they could all be about different things that are happening in my life. And they're all completely different topics, which is
Wow.
actually ridiculous. But
Yeah.
those were the issues that were going on, though. And I actually that was my head start on a few things.
So
But
so
I could
um
understand how it happens, though. I could understand is that when it does happen, it does become a go-to. But the policy is basically for me, I wouldn't ask the same question again for at least another year. I mean, or for at
right.
least another 3 or 4 months. I mean, I wouldn't ask about the same topic. I mean, it's always great when you have something to ask, but it shouldn't be the same thing, and it shouldn't be it shouldn't be so soon. Not week to week or once a month. It's like it hasn't had time to change, you know.
Right.
And the thing is,
So
and since we only go as far as a year, I mean, it might not even change for that year. You know what I mean?
right.
So, yeah.
So here's a few little tips, and remember, these are all the tips that help you to give an accurate reading. The first thing, of course, is trust your intuition. And that means paying attention to the images, the messages or feelings that you get when you first look at the cards in your reading. And ask yourself, if I had to provide a yes no answer right now, what would it be? And often your immediate reaction to the reading will be the most accurate. So, in other words, trust your gut.
Hmm.
Number 2 is look for the major arcana cards that appear in your reading. These cards point to the significant life chapter experiences like a book, and they are the kind of nucleus of the story in your reading that helps you to find the influences in the client's life now and in the future. And then 3, look at the critical positions in your tarot spread that you're using. For example, in a Celtic cross spread, look at the past, the present, that first card, that kind of the ID card, and the
Hmm.
future and outcome cards. And as you work more closely with your tarot spreads, you will become increasingly familiar with the positions that provide you with that most telling information. And one day, you will have what I call your Hellen Keller moment. You know, the moment where she's putting her hand under the water,
Well, she finally
and the
gets it.
and the
She
braille
finally gets
teacher
it.
is pumping the water, and this deaf dumb child cannot see, she cannot hear, she's in a dark black world of nothing, and then all of a sudden, though, that she gets it. And it'll be like that for those that are learning to read tarot after months and months and months of study and repeat readings that you give yourself or others. One day, your intuition connects with your logic, and bam, you have your Helen Keller moment where it all connects,
Well,
makes sense, and from then on, you will very seldom have to ever go to a book or someone else's perception, because you'll realize that reviewing and looking at one card's meaning has nothing to do with where it falls in the reading in front of you. So you have to find the influence of that card in your story before you, not just go, oh, that card, like the scarecrow on Wizard of Oz, the meaning of this, da, 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 da. No. And I have to laugh. I have belonged in the old days to tarot reading sites where there were
hmm.
two kinds of tarot readers. There were the people that considered themselves the scholars, that
Uh,
knew what all the symbols meant and knew the significance of every kind of card to the 10th power. They laser wisdom and knowledge about each card. And then there were the people that said, okay, great, but for me, I don't have the time when I'm reading for clients
uh,
or to look at the laser of one card. I have
yeah,
to connect
no,
all of them.
no, yeah, no. That's why you go by the gut feeling, and actually
Yeah,
the first things that come into your head often are the ones that, because you're not adding thought to it. You're just open to capture it.
that's
You know,
right.
um, to
I do
analyze, to
want to.
study every single thing. It's like if I had the time, if I had the patience. The thing is, what I do tend to look at the symbols, um, and actually, because there's so much to look at. Um, but the thing is, a lot of what's in the background, that has meaning too. But that's not something I picked up on until much later when I had the time to find out what is that in the background. What is the significance of somebody running with something like hidden, some small figure that's not predominant. It's not the most predominant thing in the card, or the scenery. There's always something about it. But over time, when you have time, you find out it has more to do with the time period and the meaning. That's the part you have to kind of translate when you're looking at it. Well, like how does this apply to the current century that we're living in. You know, that's why I tend to. I got so used to the Rider White weight, or the Rider
Mhm,
weight pack, because that's
mhm.
what I've been using forever. I mean, I just get kind of thrown when I see the other symbols on the other cards. And actually, then then I have to go by just the top of what I have to go by intuitive, strictly intuitive. Then, if I don't understand the
Right.
symbols, and I'm not comfortable with that because I don't call myself intuitive. I don't do that. I just call myself a tarot reader. And translator. you know, but I don't.
And
I
I
don't.
and I would call myself an intuitive
Yes,
because for
because
me,
you're a psychic.
because
but I don't.
I mean, I've been doing this for almost 50 years. So for
Yes.
me not to be able to, at this point,
Yeah.
um, connect with my intuition in a very laser pinpoint way would be like saying I can't walk and talk. That's how
Right.
strongly,
Right.
and especially as a dysfunctional child with extreme ADD, it was through reading that I functioned. That it ran like a
Oh.
fan in the back of my brain at all times. And when other
Wow.
kids were scholastically learning how to be able to do the timetables and things like that, I was reading the kids. I
Yeah.
was reading the teacher. So it was like when tarot came into my life at 19 years old, 1,000 years ago, uh,
Yeah.
it seems as if it was so easy for me to just connect, and within 2 weeks I had it memorized, and I was reading at art festivals in university towns, and the only thing that I really got in trouble for was the wrong use of the pentacle. I accidentally put the Jewish
Oops.
Star of David, the
Oops.
Jewish Star of David on my tent.
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been
I,
worse. You
well,
you you
but
you could
oh
have had
my
it upside
goodness.
down.
Oh my God. No, an upside down cross.
That's
No,
what
it
I
was
did
like,
once by accident. I did that in elementary school, and I went to parochial school, but luckily nobody caught it. I was supposed to draw a star for the nativity scene, and I did because I was a good
and you
artist.
drew a
So they would have me
pentacle.
do anything that they wanted to look cool. They would have me do because actually I had a design quality about me where I just did something really wild. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I had a star that had a real long trail at the bottom? And I thought, oh, I know, I'll just do one of those five-pointed stars that you just draw, and I'll just draw it upside down, and then have the
Joe.
bottom,
Oh
and
no.
everyone
So
said,
you had the
and everyone
manger
said,
with a
wow, that looks
pentacle.
really cool. And everybody liked it. I had none for a teacher that year, and she said, oh, that's beautiful. And I didn't even
Oh, she had
realize
no
that I had
knowledge.
done until years later, and I thought, oh my God, that's what that is. And it's a satanic when it's upside down because it's like an upside down cross then,
Well, what
you know.
mattered is that you did it in innocence and you did it to please your
I would
nun,
have
and
evoked the
she,
demon maybe if there was, you know what I mean? Without even knowing I had done it. Was that weird? And how even
oh,
here
you
we
know,
are in a parochial school with God all over the place. I mean, with crucifixes and nuns and rosaries, just dripping with
yes.
Christianity, all around me. And here I draw the inverted pentagram, because I
Well,
thought it looked cool.
without interesting stories, what would we be, right? It's
Huh?
another story. It's another short story waiting for you to write.
It's done. Actually it's not even there. That's the interview story, and I'll just leave it at that. It's done.
No. Okay,
Oh, it should be a
we have
story? No,
we
it can't
have
be.
Sheila from Charleston. We have
Okay.
Joseph from Pennsylvania.
Oh,
We
cool.
have Laura from Oklahoma. We have Sunny from New York. And we have Russell from Ohio. So I have looked in our, please understand that if anyone wants a reading in our chat room, video chat room, you would go to the video and you would go on the right side and you would click on and you would message your question. So, message questions for psychic readings is open.
Cool.
Okay. And but it didn't type. I don't know why it
Oh,
didn't do that. Oh well.
yeah, I'm not
Okay.
seeing live chat in YouTube, actually. It's not showing
Uh,
up. It's just
oh wait
us.
here. Wait, here it says. I'm gonna start again.
Okay.
I'm gonna say open for readings. Okay. Oh, and I spelled it wrong. You know, I never did well not looking at my fingers when I type. And
Nor
I tell you,
I have
one
to
of
glance at the keys.
yeah, I bet you're really good. Okay, do you see that? Open for readings. Okay, so now we're looking at Sheila from Charleston and says, oh, wait a minute. I think she's looking for, don't think she's a reader. Joseph from Pennsylvania says, hello, can I please have a 3-month financial reading? How about that, Joseph? 3-month financial
Okay,
reading.
let's see. A 3-month financial rating. Yikes. Well, let's
Uh-oh.
see. I am seeing that there was some disappointment, recent disappointment, that influences you, and it influences your question, actually. It does show that it looks like you had to leave a current source of income, a job, and the reason you want to. I.e., that you have decided to look elsewhere for happiness and for income and for maybe better security. That's what I'm seeing that's led up to this. And it also shows the basis of where the question is coming from. It does show that at the present day that you're very flexible, and if you're not, you're being encouraged to be at your most flexible and be prepared for change, okay? And be adaptable. Because I do see that this card, which is Temperance, which is really reflects your present situation. It shows that you have really good management skills and you're really good with people, and that you got lots of great ideas, and you should be. This is probably what caused you to go out on your own. Is that you need to be. Um, um, you have ideas, and you need to be your own person, or you need to be in a better place where they appreciate you. So I am seeing that up ahead. That being said, what we have to look forward to in 2 months is that you're being warned. It's funny. It says here, be careful. Be careful because not money doesn't always bring happiness. But actually, I think the money might make you pretty happy. But it does warn that. Yeah, it's gonna make things better. I do see more money on the horizon coming to you. It might have to do with a decision that you've made recently, the new job that you're starting or the new job you're looking for. And like I always say, don't quit a job until you have one, okay? Don't do that. Um, because you're being advised to avoid high risk things coming up ahead, okay? So over the next 3 months, try to watch the gambling. Don't do something high risk. Okay, stay with tried and true business techniques that actually do work, and they actually have a history of working well. And people who have take advice from people who actually have made it work, not just a lot of talk. Okay, this is what they do for a living. Those are the people. Okay, be warned of easy, quick, rich things. But I'd say it's good. I'd say you're going to be doing well financially during this time, or towards the end of that time, or on the brink of doing well. You're just being cautioned about, about high risk things that are unusual and tricky It's like maybe later, but not at this particular time. Okay. So Anne Marie, what do you say?
So for October, it says clear the past, which says to me, pay off some bill that you know has been hanging over your head from the past. Dish out a little bit more money to those past debts. November is seen as the woohoo, it's wonderful card, which means
Wow.
that is the month. And interestingly, I did two readings, and when I used the Rider Waite, it said this is the month of no problems. And
Ah.
so, woohoo is wonderful came up in
Hmm.
the other deck, which means that if you're going to splurge, if you're going to spend a little more money on Christmas, if you're going to be able to maybe invest in a car or maybe even look for a loan, you want to clear those a past debt that really needs your attention this month so that you have that extra capital to be able to spend and have a good month. But now we're looking at December, and it says December, it's a team effort. Now, what that means to me is that this is the month to put extra hours in at your job so that you can possibly get a promotion that you've been thinking about, or to do something that incorporates other people in your life, that in an environment with other people. So that to me says, as a team effort, this is December is the month that you may find that maybe doing a little extra holiday work or something that others don't want to do and you're going to do is going to have the payoff of making your income and possible job promotion better for the first of the new year. And that's what I have.
Cool.
Okay, so we're going to look at, um, okay, so we're going to look at Laura. And
Laura.
Laura says, hello, I'm
Hello.
looking for a new job and wondering, what do the cards say about that? Thanks. And she's from Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see here. I do see that. Oh, let's see. Things have been good. I do see that in the past. Uh, somebody, you have a lot of happiness in your past. It just seems like you have happy memories of good times, and that's a good thing. That this you have good background. It's very, very nice. I do see that at the present time, it looks like you're having trouble making a decision. Um, or maybe you think you might have made a decision. And actually, the card here, what we do show is the lovers, which is upside down. And that just shows that the relationship is troublesome and that you might have made, um, if it's a job, you might feel like maybe you've made a mistake by taking the job because you like maybe you weren't sure about it and then you took it and then all of a sudden it's like a baptism by fire and you hate it and you want to quit but you can't. So
Mm.
I'm seeing like that's a possibility if you move too fast sometimes, but a lot of times you have no other choice but to take this job even though it sucks. um, and it's but the thing is always keep in mind that things keep changing. Okay, it could suck for months, but then all of a sudden it gets better, and that's why you have to stick to it. So I am seeing that in the future, in the near future, very near future, I do see that you might have a boss that's prone to. He's a male who's prone to mood swings, and he's represented by the Knight of Cups, which normally would be really great. but because they have this wonderful emotional quality about them. But because of this emotional quality, and because this person is a creative individual, when they're upside down and functioning in a negative way, it's murder. It really is awful. It's just going to be a very difficult person to deal with. They might even have a personality disorder that has
Mm.
put them in this position. I'm not going to say that they'll have their good days and bad days, but I'll just say that, my goodness, whoever this person is, they too are having a difficult time, no doubt. There's something going on with them which makes it difficult, and it makes them difficult to deal with. So that is something you may have to consider. But like, say, for instance, it's a it's a difficult job, and on top of that, your boss is like some severe diabetic that has these horrible, these horrible swings that you have to deal with, or they're just, sometimes they have awful days, and they're wonderful people and they're good at what they do, but then there's days where, and times where their blood sugar's off. It could be something like that. So always keep that in mind. There could be physical reasons why this person is upside down, and normally this would be an okay person, really, but this person is not functioning well. So you might have a boss like that, and there might not be anything you can do about it for the time being except hang in there and see what happens. Because, like I said, if new sometimes bosses get replaced too. You might not get replaced, but the boss
Mm.
might get replaced. And I've had jobs where I was there for a year and my boss was gone, and I had a new boss, and I had a new boss. Then I had a new boss every 2 or 3 years. Okay, I think one I had for 5 years. So, and luckily it was a good one too. I had a few stinkos, and I thought to myself, I'm going to do my best to hang in there, and I think you're not going to be here. In my mind, I would
Mm.
think that. It's like, okay, I'm going to try to work with you as best I can until you get replaced, or until I find something else, and that
Or
might
you
be
get
it. Okay,
fired or
so
you quit.
AnnMarie, yeah, no, 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 don't get fired, or but just try.
Okay.
Uh-oh,
Joseph, you
did we
ready?
lose
I
Anne
got
Marie?
you. Nope, you have. I should be here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, good.
Okay. Yep, you
Okay,
kind
what
of
do you
went,
think?
yeah. Okay. So here's what comes up from
I
what
think I
I'm
lost
looking
my part of my.
at.
Okay, there
Um,
you go.
it says, first, and maybe this doesn't make sense to you, but it does to me. When we decide to move from our present living situation, we have to weigh the pros and the cons. If you say, without a doubt, my life could be better if I moved into a different house and I'm going to go get a bank loan and buy a new house, or I'm just going to go invest in an apartment. What are the cons of that? How long will that take? How much of that security money are you going to spend? And so for that reason, the first thing that comes up when we look at will you be looking for a new job? If you are presently working someplace, be generous with yourself. And what that means, and I know that my stuff is coming up reversed when I look at the words on it. Be generous with yourself is, yeah, you can think of all the best case scenario, but what are the shadows of um, negatives or insecurities or things that you may not be able, that you're forgetting, that show you're not preparing for yourself. On the other hand, if you have the capital and you have the ability to leave a present job and go for a different one, then go ahead and be generous with yourself. The second thing that I see um, says, and this is sound check, but it's reversed. What is a sound check? A sound check is when you go check, 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 testing, testing, and you test your sound. What if you're not really being logical when you think about looking for a different job? What if you're not considering what else is out there that could boomerang on you like bad sound if you make an impulsive choice to leave a present job? So whatever you do, make sure that you do a sound check. What does that mean? It means logically ask yourself the pros and cons of leaving the job that you have. Or if you really want to just find a job because you don't have one, well, then I would say that the most important thing you can do is ask yourself, what do you love to do? If you love to do something like, let's say you're kind of a meticulous type, and you like organization, and you like compartmentalizing, maybe something like a medical transcriptor would be a great job for you that could make you bunches of money. Or maybe you love to do things like take care of children. Well, maybe there's a hospital out there that could give you the kind of job you need to take care of children, or nursing home people. Or maybe you love to just be um, maybe your leadership qualities are amazing. So, what do you love to do? And don't be afraid before you quit a job to get an extra credit, to get some certification that could modernize what you have so that you are appealing to the job you love to do. But on the other hand, don't leave a job thinking that it's grass is greener on the other side of the hill, only to find that you found yourself in another shit hill. So that's what I see. So I'm going to say it's up to you. Yes, you can find another job, but consider what I just told you. All
Yeah.
right. We
Okay.
have Sunny. Sunny is from New York and says the job I am in is not operating safe. The name of the company is Lewis. Currently, I am looking for a new one. Is this a good move? Okay, here we go again. Is it a good time for Lewis to look for a safe job?
A safe job. Well, let's see. Let's have a look. See. Is it a good time? Oof. Well, in the past, oh wow, the devil upside down has appeared,
That's
and an
that's
upside
good
down
though to me.
a pentagram, just like what we were talking about earlier. But actually, it does show in the past that you might have had some difficulty making decisions, and it seemed like you were probably ill-advised in the past, or you went by way of thinking of ways to get rich that are easy, like the schemes, doing something unconventional that seems quick to make money. And actually, that doesn't usually work. And that's in the past. And it does show that there's been money troubles, which has led you to this point. And at the present day, though, I do see the star. Now, I do show the star is upside down too, because now you're afraid of failure from the past because of things that had gone wrong, and you're dwelling on it. And I'm seeing that as I'm seeing that, like everybody's going to have a minor run of bad luck sometimes, and so, but if you have one now, it's like you feel like this is how it's always going to be. This is how it's always been. And it's just it does hurt your motivation. You kind of want to give up sometimes, because because you just need to. It's that you need to overcome the fear of failure. Now, I do see that you have to find a way to keep money flowing in your life. So I am seeing that in the near future, You're being cautioned of being lazy. Okay.
Oh
Now, I just
dear.
want to point out it's difficult to find an easy job. It really is. It's difficult to find a clean job, and it is difficult to find a job that just where we have clear-cut things that answer our questions for us, where we could say, this is the rule of thumb, and this is, you know, I will say it will not be an easy job that I see you getting. It will be difficult, but you will. I see that you're getting it, but you're being told this is going to be difficult, and you're kind of going to hate it. But I do see that it's not really going to be as for safe. Well, I don't really know. I do see that it's difficult. It's almost like Descartes is saying there really isn't a safe job, really. I mean, I used to think that working for a school system was safe at one
Oh,
time, but I used to think,
not
because
anymore.
really, well, because not-for-profit jobs that were for, like, say, if you worked for a school system, if you worked for a town, those seemed like, gee, as you could have those forever, and it's safe. And because it's not safe so much that you could do a crappy job and keep your job. Of course not. No, they will fire you if you do a lousy job. However, they're safe in terms of it's safe from the ups and downs of economics because there will always be taxes. Okay. The trouble is that we've gotten to a point in our country where we're not even sure if we can pay people with taxes because the only people who are paying taxes are the poor people, and they can barely do it, and they're not working.
Mm-mm.
So it's not going to be an easy job. I do see you getting one, but I do see that um, you don't want to lose your job, and you really have to put in. You really do have to you have to, put yourself in the job. It almost seems as though that's what the issue is that you never really put yourself into it. And I do see that it's, and I'm not saying uh, that's going to work, do that easily. Just focus on what you're doing and try to do the best you can. And try to stick around a little later if there are meetings, so you can kind of get an in on things. Try to really, really do well. Try to do the best you can, and then those efforts will be rewarded. But if you go about it in a sleepy and lazy way, or if you have a health issue that makes you this way, that's going to make it difficult. Okay, so AnnMarie, what do you see?
Sure. And Joseph, if you will, please give Girl Power a reading on what kind of dynamic is the relationship her husband is having with the person that she's asking about. All right?
Oh, oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Let's see if
Just
let's
look at
see
it.
if the
Well,
cards
you'll
work.
have to do that with her because I'm going to do
I'll
the
type
reading.
it out. Yeah, I
Yep,
won't
yep,
talk.
yep.
I'll type it out.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Yeah. So we're looking at the question is the environment that you're working at safe? And I guess I'm thinking that there is a double meaning to this because what your reading says is it safe because you're not claiming your boundaries, or is it just really not safe? Because your reading says you're not claiming your boundaries. So your reading says, absolutely, if you want a different job, it's available for you. But it's also saying this is time to really reflect and to ask your angels in morning prayer, night prayer, or meditation to direct you to a paper ad or some kind of job that will come to you and you will see it in words in front of you. The other thing that comes to me is the job that you will get if you are at one where you have a hard time claiming your boundaries is going to be one that's back to basics. What is back to basics? Well, back to basics is when you're in an environment where people take care of you, have set rules, and they do not allow anyone to be flexible with those rules. So what your reading is saying is if safety, whether it be masks or whether it be, unsafe equipment or people, the most important thing to remember is that claim your boundaries. Have you told the people that you work with what you will or won't put up with? And when you find a job that has strong safety, which could be strong basics, you can possibly use that as leverage with the job you're in now. As you say, I understand that you have a protocol that you follow, but for me, it does not feel safe. So therefore, I have looked for a different job. Well, I think our show has come to an end. The 6 o'clock whistle just blew. So,
Uh-oh.
what
So
is it?
I guess we have to say goodbye.
Well, wait a minute. Let me see here.
5:58, we have 2 minutes. And
Okay.
what I'm seeing, the relationship for girl power sounds like a, a past friend or a friend that has a long past with him. I do see he's a male, and it could be this is a type of person who's very opinionated. Also though, this one's very immature. Being upside down, it's a destructive personality that this person has. That is the relationship between him and this other person. It could be someone he works with, somebody who has influenced. If you're looking for someone who gave the influence, or what type of relationship, I do see it.
Gotta go, Joe.
There is a relationship. It's represented by the devil turned upside down. The
Okay.
lovers, the devil turned upside down. But it's not necessarily a lover's relationship.
Nope, I
It
don't see
shows.
a no lovers
Yeah.
relationship.
No, it's not.
I got it.
Yeah.
Says there's no play involved. Gotta go. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye
See you
bye.
next week.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Care